welcome. It's very nice to see you, Faisal. So I'm with Faisal Hussain, who's the CEO of Double Glazing and Conservatory Ombudsman Scheme, otherwise known as DGCOS. And DGCOS is all about protecting consumers, raising industry standards, and supporting glazing installers. So Faisal, can we get into the nitty-gritty of this? Just what exactly are you doing as far as DGCOS is concerned? I know it's been fairly quiet for a little while, and you're back now as CEO. Please tell us how you're going to take DGCOS forward.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, very nice to meet you, Chris, and thank you very much for inviting me. For the last year or so, we've been working on developing our offering, but also making it clear exactly what we do offer. It boils down to three things, which is all about protecting consumers, so they actually know when they use one of our members what exactly protection they get. And as part of that is we've been working with the Plain English Society, and we've actually got the crystal mark to say that all our literature and brochures are written in plain English and consumers can understand it. One of the tasks that we've been doing is to actually work with our existing membership to understand what support that they need as a business, because an installer's journey, it starts from right at the beginning when they want to try and set up their business. And obviously through the last couple of years, there's been quite a number of problems because, COVID's been one of the issues, Brexit as well. And installers have gone through this up and down journey of, yes, they can sign up customers, but however, they're having trouble with the product, they're having trouble getting installed because they've not got enough fitting teams. And what we've been working on is to actually see how we as a business, we can help our network of installers throughout their journey. So whether that's they need some guidance and advice on a new CRM system, or whether it's they need some marketing support, a point of sale material, or they need access to, or our advice in terms of, do we have access to any subcontractors that they can tap into to get some installations done, but also advice and in general in terms of how should they deal with complaints if they do get complaints, what's the best way of communicating with the consumer. We also do an annual review with installers where we look at their paperwork, we look at their documentation, we speak to and we work with them to see what improvements they can make every year, because things always change in a business and things always change from a legislation point of view. And one of our key roles is to make sure our members know what's going on and how we can support them, and also give them some template documents. In a nutshell, that's about us being an extension of their business, really. So if an installer has a problem, I always want them to ring us up and say, I've got this problem, can you help? We will try our best to find different solutions for them. And that's how we, as a business now and as an organization, we're going to be moving forward. It's all about protecting the consumer, supporting our members throughout their business, and also, lastly, raising industry standards by working collaboratively with other organizations within the sector, because I believe that working together and collaboratively is the best way forward for the industry itself, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve in the future.
Okay, if I'm an installer and I've heard about this scheme and it interests me and I'd like to join it, what exactly happens? What sort of due diligence do you do on me as an installer? Because I know you're quite picky about the people that join your organization. You obviously want them to be a proper upstanding business to be part of DGCOS. So what do you do when I come on to you and say, look, I'd like to be part of this organization?
One of the first things that we do is we have a conversation with you as an installer, because what we want to understand is your business, how you operate, and initially, is DGCOS right for you? Now, there's 12 to 14,000 installers in the UK, and for 90% of installers, DGCOS is not going to be the right fit for them for a number of reasons. However, if after the conversation that the installer feels that, yes, DGCOS is the right fit for them, then they apply. And then when they go through the application process, we have three main sets of checks that we do. We do what you call an internet search check, and that involves looking at the company, looking at their credit score. We also do Google searches to see reviews have been left about the business. Has there been anything untoward in terms of the business itself? Have they received any fines or sanctions? Have the directors received anything negative about them on the internet? But we also look at their website to see how are they marketing their business, because a website's a very powerful tool for an installer. And how are they marketing their website? Are they putting any misleading claims on their website? It gives us a better flavor, a better picture of that business initially from the search that we do and the checks that we do. And then we put them through an accreditation score. So our accreditation score is out of 1,000 points. And that is made up of different levels. So credit score is one of the factors. You've got the number of unsatisfied CCJs. We look at their average contract value, the average deposit that they take. Is it more than 25%? We look at the net worth of the business, the cash in the bank. Are they doing any high-risk products? What competencies they have? And that helps us build up a picture of what type of company they are. And then lastly, we look at their documents, which include the public and employees' liability insurances, their complaints process, the workmanship guarantee, and any associated product literature that they have. And then from that basis, then we will make a decision on whether to accept, reject, or refer an installer.
Is one of the main things, one of the advantages being that you've obviously got George Clark as your ambassador. So is it very much aimed at making sure that the homeowner is protected and whatever is done in their home has the backing of DGCOS, so that if there are any issues, they can come back to you? And presumably George Clark as the ambassador is there to convince or reassure homeowners that DGCOS is a safe and reliable organization.
Yeah, because initially when we had discussions with George Clark coming on board, he wouldn't just endorse, if you like, any type of organization. So we went through a due diligence process with George Clark, and at the end of it, he was happy. And our history, if you like, and our foundation is all about consumer protection and transforming consumer protection, because just when you think you've got it right with consumer protection, something else comes up and you've got to evolve and develop all the time. And part of what we do is, we provide literature to our installers to give to consumers, and we want consumers to read our literature because we want to understand exactly the protection they have when they use a member. And that's so important because, and the fact is, you've heard so many stories from consumers saying, I thought I had this. However, when I tried to make a claim or tried to ask for assistance, it turned out I didn't have anything. And I don't want a consumer ever to ring DGCOS and say, I thought I had this from you, but actually I don't. We want it to be transparent as possible. And, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to make our offering transparent to consumers on our website, on our literature that installers and our members give. And the purpose is that as a consumer, as soon as you sign the contract with an installer, you might give a deposit. You want to know that your deposit is protected. Mm-hmm. And then also throughout the journey of the installation, you might have problems, and you want to know that you can actually contact an organization as in DGCOS, and DGCOS will help you throughout the process. And our philosophy is that we will help you even before a consumer signs a contract with a member, because they might actually contact us and say, I've had one of your members come to quote me for an installation, and I want to know a bit more about them. So we'll tell them, we'll give them an honest appraisal of our members. And then it's a case of, if after the installation there's any problems, they've got us and they can give us a call, and it's all free of charge for the consumer. Hopefully they never need us, which is brilliant, but it's there if they do.
What happens if the installation is done and it's obviously got to be registered with building control and so on? I mean, do you cover that as well, or is that a matter of still requiring a competent purpose scheme to register it?
So the way it works is that MHCLG, who's the government organisation, will approve competent person scheme. So DGCOS itself is not a competent person scheme. So as an installer working in the double glazing industry, you will join a competent person scheme if you want to self-certify your windows and doors, replacement windows and doors, and roof lights. If an installer joins us, we have relationships with competent person schemes where if you join us, you can then register a customer on our system. And then instead of going to the actual competent person scheme to register the customer's details again, because it's more admin, we will then send the notification through, and they will then send the customer the building regulation certificate. So the idea is that as an installer, it's a lot more streamlined. So you don't have a situation where you're registering multiple times on multiple platforms. It's one of the major benefits that our members like, because it saves them a lot of time on admin.
No, I mean, that kind of makes sense, the streamlining of the whole process. So as an installer, what's this going to cost me?
The two main costs of joining DGCOS is a membership fee, and that membership fee is $695 plus VAT, and that's an annual membership fee. And then as part of you joining DGCOS, you register all your customers on our system, and that customer gets access to DGCOS, customer service, mediation facilities, independent inspection, ombudsman, deposit protection insurance, and an insurance-backed guarantee. And also you can include the competent person scheme notification fee in there as well. And all of that is basically every time you register a job on our system, we charge you a fee. Now, approximately it's 1% of the contract value.
So, yeah, I also noticed that there's quite a lot of benefits, isn't there, to the installer? I mean, it's not just protecting the consumer, it's also helping them with their marketing. It's helping in loads of different ways. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about those benefits?
We're all about providing value to our members. And what we've been working on is how we can benefit an installer's business throughout their journey. And in total, there's around 30 to 32 benefits that we can provide an installer. So if, for example, you're new to the marketplace and you're setting up your business, we can provide you with some model terms and conditions and contracts to help you comply with Consumer Rights Act. If you're looking at marketing, we can provide you with point of sale material. We can provide you with videos, graphics. We can also actually audit your website as well and see how you can improve your rankings and your performance of your website. Even within the consumer's home, once you become a member, we don't just leave you. We provide you with training on how you can actually portray your membership across to a consumer. And that could be as simple as playing a video where you've got George Clark talking to the consumer, or it's about talking the consumer through DGCOS and what you've had to do to become a member of DGCOS, thereby giving you that extra edge. Because one of the things that we're really proud of is that we don't accept anyone on, anyone and everyone onto our scheme. You've got to go through a strict accreditation process, which means that when you become a member, you have that extra advantage. Generally, consumers get 2 to 3 quotations. If you go in there and you're a DGCOS member and you are up against non-DGCOS members, then you explaining DGCOS to a consumer and what it means to them will help you convert that into a sale. But if you are a business and you're struggling to get finance, we can introduce you to finance brokers and lenders to help you gain consumer finance, because sometimes people will want to buy, but they just simply don't have the money to buy. And that's where consumer finance can help. And obviously from an installation point of view, is that a lot of installers are struggling at the moment in terms of the lack of labor, if you like, or qualified labor. And we could even potentially help with introducing some subcontractors to them to help cope with increased demand. And then one of the most important aspects is that you think that installers know how to deal with complaints and customers when the problem happens. And in fact, we've done a lot of work with installers to help them understand that when you do get a complaint, it's actually an opportunity to work with a customer to get them into a really good place. You don't want to ignore complaints because it'll just fester. And the best thing to do about complaints is to tackle them head on and to actually look and deal with them. And then we also do like an annual review as well. We look at what they're doing as a business. And the idea is that legislation and things can change over the last 12 months. And we want to make sure that they comply with legislation, but also we want to see how we can help improve their business and help them throughout their journey. So what we're really proud of is the fact that we are all about providing and adding value to our members' business, and that's what we're looking to do, and that's what we are doing.
I mean, as an installer, one of the things that would really interest me is the other side of it, and that is, how does the homeowner know about DGCOS, and therefore look to me to be a member and the protection that it gives them? Presumably, you obviously have George Clark, but presumably you're going to have to advertise to the general public to get them to know about the scheme and the advantages of taking on an installer who's a member.
Yeah, I think where we are as an organisation is we want to give our members a point of difference when it comes to consumers. So we're actually doing a research piece at the moment, and quite a lot of consumers they search online, and online has taken up. So we're doing quite a big piece of work in terms of researching on how we can actually support our installers from an online point of view. Now, whether that's directly or indirectly, the idea is that we're going to help generate leads for our members, whether it's through their own website or our website, and we can actually help them. But the main thing is, from our point of view, is that our members use our marketing literature to actually demonstrate to consumers about what DGCOS does and how it does it, because it's so fundamentally important. As a consumer, you are bombarded with quite a lot of information. And what you want is, you want to be able to understand exactly what you get. And that's our differentiation point for our members.
And is it about comfort? I mean, earlier we were talking and you mentioned about an installer who said that when he comes out of the business, he wants to be able to walk around his town and feel confident that everything he's done in his past life is sound. Can you just talk us through that? Because I thought that was really interesting and a very valuable point.
It's quite interesting because I speak to a number of installers, and I remember this one installer who was a local guy. He was a local installer, worked within the local area. And, I said to him, I said, why did you join DGCOS? And he said, quite simply, because if ever I retire, or if ever something happens to my business, I want to be able to walk in the town centre and see these customers, know that they've actually looked after and they're protected, even though I might not be here. And he said, and DGCOS actually does that for me. And also it provides them extra credibility. He said, but that for me is, I want to look after my customers, and you guys do that. And yes, you're more expensive. However, for me, it's about the bigger picture. And that was really nice actually to hear from the member, because we forget that, yes, we're in business, but actually it's all about the people as well. And he wanted to look after his customers as much as possible. And he's still trading, mind you, but he just wanted to do that, so which is nice.
And I think that's a very good place to leave it, Faisal. That's, I think, sums it up. And many thanks for your time. Thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you.
No, thank you very much. It's really nice to meet you, Chris, and I'm sure we're going to be having a number of conversations in the future.